Hi, everyone, and welcome to Schein Chats. I am Seema Bhansali, Executive Director of Corporate Affairs at Henry Schein. And today I am joined by Debra Fraser-Howze, an esteemed global health leader who, for over 3 decades, has focused on a broad range of health related topics for underrepresented communities regarding teenage pregnancy, social welfare, and HIV and AIDS. Most notably, in the 1980s, she founded the National Black Leadership Commission on AIDS. She has held advisory roles with 2 U.S. presidents and has received the Scroll of Merit Award from the National Medical Association. And as if that weren't enough, she recently created and developed Choose Healthy Life, a public health initiative to help drive testing and vaccinations for COVID-19 and increase community awareness around the virus. Deborah, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Oh,
It is amazing to speak with you.
Seema, thank you for having me. Thank you very much.
So I have to ask, you've already had an illustrious career. You've done so much, but with all you've accomplished, you've chosen to do choose healthy life now. Why was it important for you to start a new nonprofit at this point?
Well, I would like to say I was losing my mind, but I wasn't. I was, I think that all the work that I've done up until this moment in teenage pregnancy and HIV and AIDS and founding organizations, and then working in industry at Orashore Technologies as part of the executive team as a senior vice president for government and external affairs, and then getting to this point where I decided to retire, that I sat in my home in retirement, preparing to go to seminary, and watched as they were putting black body bags into the back of freezer trucks, and knowing that these were my people in these bags, and these were people of color. And it almost killed me. And I decided to get up and do something about it. That people have, people are running around here with PhDs, and I have a GSD, get stuff done. So I decided that I was going to get up and get stuff done, and carry my GSD with me. And I wrote a proposal and went to Quest Diagnostics and got $4.7 million to fund 50 churches in 5 cities to have full-time public health navigators on the ground to do the work in the community that needed to be done.
Okay, so I love your GSD. I'm definitely going to use that because
Please.
on your website it says when white America gets a cold, Black America gets pneumonia.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about that and a little bit about the goals and objectives for Choose Healthy Life.
Well, we've suffered from all kinds of issues and people doing the wrong thing to communities of color around public health and health in general. One of the barriers that we had when we first started this, and with AIDS, so AIDS is a good lesson. Misinformation, communities that were mistrustful of the public health service. People talked about the Tuskegee experiment and not wanting to be a part of anything that they saw as factual or truth coming from the public health community. And that is not good for us. That tends to put us in the back seat, or makes us arrive too late. And one of the goals of Choose Healthy Life was to ensure that there was a public health infrastructure on the ground in the church, a professional one, that we would train people that were certified to go out and do the kinds of public health canvassing, talking to the community, setting up vaccination sites, setting up testing sites, and getting stuff done. So that was the first goal. The second goal is to address the health disparities put us here in the first place. And most importantly is the three-legged stool of obesity, hypertension, and diabetes. We've had these maladies for so many decades, and everybody talks about them, but nobody does anything about them. Everybody sort of meets them and it acknowledges that this is what's going on in the community, but it's time to get it done. It's time to end it so that we are not the most vulnerable people every time that there's a pandemic or epidemic in the United States.
Yeah, and I think this pandemic has really laid bare the inequities that existed, and
Oh,
it
absolutely.
cost lives, right? This isn't something that we can afford to go back to, normal and what it was, right? I think there's less.
We can never go back to normal because we died in normal. I think that I discussed this with you. We died there. So going back there is unacceptable. We have to go forward, and we have to go forward. We have to choose healthy life, and we have to, and as part of choosing healthy life, which comes out of Deuteronomy, by the way, in the Bible, and the passage is Deuteronomy 30:19. Choose life so that thou and thy seed may live. And it is a message to our community that you have the power to choose life over there. So all of these other maladies that we have the power to deal with diabetes, to deal with hypertension, to deal with obesity, and we're going to have to take that on. But we also have to recognize, and everyone else has to respect the fact that we have been inundated with some really terrible practices, from Tuskegee to blankets that had smallpox to you name it. Communities of color have been through it, and we have to recognize that that has created a barrier of communications. And these hesitancies that you see around vaccines and other issues are all a result of those things. Centuries of them, 400 years of it, back to slavery. So we have to acknowledge that, and we have to meet people where they are and help them to evolve from that space.
Yeah, I love what you said about power, because I think that's what your messaging is all about, right? People are empowered to choose a healthier life, to make better decisions, even in the backdrop of some of these horrible atrocities that were kind of brought to the community. And we're going to have a lot of healthcare providers who are going to listen to this. And what I'd like to ask you is, what kind of power do they have, even if they're not a member of an underrepresented group? What's the power that they bring to helping to drive health equity for everybody?
The medical community, the healthcare community, has more power than anybody else in our community. We have a very respectful relationship with our own doctors. We listen to them, we respect them, we understand them. Many of the doctors that all of the doctors I have look like me, but there are a couple that do not. I can't say all, because there are a couple that do not. And I have the same level of respect for all of them, because I respect their expertise and their knowledge base. And as long as they don't hurt me, or do anything or say anything that's wrong, that I know is wrong, that will hurt me, I'm going to continue to respect them. So the first thing that the healthcare community has to do is respect who you're dealing with. Respect that I'm intelligent enough to understand what you're saying to me. So give me the courtesy of explaining to me what might be wrong, what might be right, what I need to do. Give me that courtesy. Let me make informed decisions with you, and help me to understand that, and build trust between me and the rest of the medical community. You're going to send me to a doctor, I come into you, I have high blood pressure, you want me to see a cardiologist. Build trust, make that link, make it okay, make it a safe space. And in doing so, I will always listen to you. No one will be able to tell me anything different. If we had that right now, there would be no vaccine hesitancy, because in the way that we've done this and allowed the church, the Black church, the pastors in the Black church said to the community, go get a vaccination. Now, granted, these were older people who were going to the church, but we vaccinated 45,000 people in months, because the Black clergy told them to go get vaccinated and took the vaccination themselves and said, watch me do it. There's a linkage there. If these trusted messengers that are in the community, if the healthcare community can link with the trusted messengers in the community, we would have many of our problems solved.
I think, Henry Schein couldn't agree with you more on the trust of advisors that the healthcare community represents. And we strongly believe that they are an important part of the the vaccine, getting vaccinated and helping people with overcome vaccine hesitancy.
Yeah.
So they're critical. And, I just want to ask you, in a perfect world for you, what does health equity look like? What does it look like to say we have health equity?
It looks like respect. It looks like anything that you can get on Park Avenue in New York, you can get on 125th Street in Harlem. Anything that I can get from NYU or UCLA or UC Berkeley, I can get at the University of the corner of Lenox Avenue, the other UCLA. I want there to be a world where everybody gets equal care, and whatever that looks like. If it doesn't matter how much money you have, what your zip code is, if you're in need and there's a remedy for you for that need, it should be addressed. And that's what equity means to me. And it also means that the healthcare community fights for me. The doctors fight for me, the policymakers fight for me, the public health community fights for me, the Henry Scheins of the world fight for me to have my rightful place, fight for my life because I'm worth it.
Deborah, that is probably one of the best definitions of health equity I have ever heard. It's holistic. It brings in all the partners that can help drive better outcomes for each and every one of us. I'm thrilled to have been able to speak with you today. I felt
And
like
I'm
it went by
thrilled to
so
talk to
fast,
you.
but we are looking forward to talking to you again. And for everybody listening, we will see you next time on Shine.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for having me, Seema.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.